We have been conditioned to fear the sky. We look at the clouds, waiting for the lightning of Zeus, thinking the king of the gods is the ultimate threat. But the ancient Greeks knew a darker truth. They knew that the ground beneath their feet was a lie. They knew that the vast black expanse of the ocean wasn't just water, it was a mood. And that mood was rarely stable. Imagine standing on a shoreline, the sun is shining, the water is calm, and suddenly the earth begins to shiver. Not a small tremble, but a bone-rattling groan that suggests the very foundations of the world are about to snap. That wasn't nature. That was a warning.
Unveil the legends.
While Zeus was busy managing the politics of Olympus and maintaining the order of the cosmos, his brother Poseidon was busy nursing a grudge that spanned eons. He didn't just rule the sea, he owned the tectonic plates. He was the earth shaker. He was the god who could unmake a civilization because of a perceived slight or a missed sacrifice. If Zeus was the judge, Poseidon was the executioner who didn't care about the trial. Today we peel back the blue veil of the Mediterranean to look into the eyes of a god who didn't want your worship, he wanted your terror. To understand the temper, you have to understand the trauma. Poseidon wasn't born a king. He was born a meal. He spent his infancy in the pitch-black digestive tract of his father, Cronus, listening to the muffled screams of his siblings. When he was finally vomited back into existence and helped his brothers overthrow the Titans, he didn't get the crown. He got the leftovers. Zeus took the infinite sky. Hades took the permanence of the underworld. Poseidon was handed the sea, a chaotic, shifting, unpredictable realm that mirrored his own fractured psyche. This is where the bitterness began. He felt sidelined. While Zeus sat on a golden throne in the clouds, Poseidon was relegated to the depths, surrounded by the crushing pressure of the abyss. This pressure didn't just exist in the water. It lived in his chest. He spent centuries trying to prove he was the equal of the Sky King. Every storm he brewed, every island he sank, and every city he leveled was a message directed upward. He wasn't just shaking the earth, he was shaking his brother's throne. He was the god who refused to be forgotten, and he used a three-pronged spear to make sure the world felt his heartbeat. The temper of Poseidon wasn't like the quick flash of a lightning bolt. It was a slow-burn tsunami. Take the city of Athens, for example. We think of it as a center of wisdom, but to Poseidon, it was a crime scene. When the people of the city chose Athena's gift of the olive tree over his gift of a salt water spring, he didn't just walk away. He didn't offer a rebuttal. He flooded the entire Thriasian plain. He tried to drown the very future of the city. He was a god who saw losing as an existential threat. This pettiness extended to everyone, mortals, heroes, and even his own blood. If you crossed Poseidon, he didn't just kill you, he erased your legacy. He would send a sea monster to ravage your coastlines, not for a day, but for generations. He would ensure your ships never found their way home, leaving you to wander the gray wastes of the ocean until you forgot your own name. His anger was atmospheric. It changed the weather. It changed the map. To the ancients, a calm sea wasn't a blessing. It was Poseidon holding his breath, waiting for a reason to let it out. Why was he more feared than Zeus? Because you can hide from a storm, but you cannot hide from the earth. Poseidon was the god of the unexpected. He represented the raw, unbridled power of nature that humans cannot calculate. Zeus represented law. Poseidon represented the breaking of it. He was associated with horses, creatures of power, speed, and unpredictable spirit. When he charged across the waves in his chariot, he wasn't just traveling, he was claiming. Think about the sailors of the Bronze Age. They didn't view the sea as a highway. They viewed it as a graveyard that hadn't happened yet. They knew that Poseidon's favor could be bought with gold and bulls, but his hatred was free. He was the god of the deep. In Greek psychology, the deep is where the monsters live, both literal and metaphorical. His temper was a manifestation of the unconscious mind, turbulent, dark, and capable of rising up to swallow everything you built in a single night. He was a constant reminder that civilization is just a thin crust floating on top of a very angry ocean. The most terrifying aspect of Poseidon's temper wasn't the waves, it was the silence that followed. After the city was leveled, after the fleet was scattered, the sea would return to a mirror-like stillness. It was a form of gaslighting on a divine scale. He would destroy everything you loved, and then offer you a beautiful sunset over the wreckage. This is why the Greeks built his temples on the most precarious cliffs, overlooking the water. It wasn't for the view, it was so they could keep an eye on him. He remains the most feared because he is the most human of the gods. He is the embodiment of our own rage, our own feelings of being overlooked, and our own capacity for destruction. He didn't care about the greater good or the divine plan. He cared about respect, and if he didn't get it, he would crack the world open like a walnut to find it. As we look into the rest of his story in this series, remember this: the trident isn't just a weapon. It's a tuning fork for the world's pain, and Poseidon is always listening for the next note. As you look out at the horizon today, it's easy to see just water, but for the ancient world, that horizon was a boundary line for a kingdom that never sleeps. Poseidon didn't need to be on Olympus to be the most powerful person in the room. He was the room. He was the floor, the walls, and the ceiling of the physical world. His temper is the reason the mountains have jagged edges. It's the reason the trenches of the sea are so deep they haven't been explored. We often talk about the wrath of God in a general sense, but the Greeks were specific. They had a name for the feeling you get when the air turns heavy and the birds go silent before a disaster. They called it Poseidon. He is the god of the too much water, too much noise, too much power. He is the reminder that no matter how many walls we build or how many satellites we launch, we are still just guests on a planet that belongs to a god who can shake it whenever he feels slighted. The trident is still held high, and the ocean is still waiting.